Right, hi, good afternoon. It is now 2:22 and Btf Runs Tonight. I've just had a long chat with Ed, and after lots of back and forward with Wolverhampton Racecourse, we have I think there's about 24 in total owners going along there with owners and trainers badges. Probably a few more trying to tag along without, but hopefully it'll be a very worthwhile trip. As you all are well aware, after a good comeback on his first run for Ed at Windsor, Btf was a little bit underwhelming when he went to Goodwood and then went to Brighton. Pat Cosgrave got off him at Brighton and reported that he required a wind operation, which we had done. Wasn't a huge surprise in some respects, as we had a couple of times come close to getting him redone when he was with Jamie. But the decision was made by Jamie that he wasn't quite needing it. So, but it was always going to need done at some point. It's very, very common that when a horse gets their wind up done, it does need to be refired, as they call it. And I think looking back, although they didn't record the date that they were done back in the day, his first run after his wind up last time was December 2016. So it's 2.5 years ago or so. So it's not a massive shock to see that he needed it. So Ed is absolutely delighted with him at home. He would have been ready to run maybe 2 weeks ago, definitely a week and a half ago, but we wanted to wait for the right opportunity. I think what is very, very key with where we are with Btf is to have a very, very good benchmark that we can use to judge his next few months. With the turf runs, there is always the question about ground, about the intricacies of a track, is the race ran fast enough, and all of the other questions that come into the equation. By running at Wolverhampton, we totally take those questions off the table. And we know he likes the course, he likes the distance, he likes the going, and he's going there fitting well. The cheek pieces are on, Ed couldn't be happier. So it is a slightly trickier race than we might have hoped today, but I suppose in some respects that is likely to be the case. It is a 0-80, which is a little bit of a grade above what he would be running on the turf. And it's a race that at this time of year allows the 3-year-olds to run with a weight advantage. Why is currently 4 of the first 5 in the betting are all 3-year-olds. The 10 will go to post tonight. Went through the race with Ed this morning. Ed thought the biggest threat was likely to come from the James Tate horse with caution. A little bit surprised to see them taking 5 off with young Kieran Fallon. Possibly does it indicate that he's too high in the handicap? I don't know, genuinely don't know. But what it does look is that, the horse has won over course and distance, as a few of these have. Been slightly disappointing in its last few runs, but still has plenty of potential to kick on and do better. As with all the 3-year-olds, the one that's now favourite is Wild Edric, which is a Tom Dascombe horse, which I got a message on Saturday. I get a lot of random messages from people in random race courses telling me that this guy says this and this guy says that, and I always welcome them and take them in all on face value. But Sadler's message was that the Dascombe horse was, they were very confident it was going to win today. Now, why it was running on Saturday, this was before it ran Saturday, I don't know. It ended again to run again on Friday night. Again, a horse that's won over course and distance, won very impressively as a young horse over the course and distance on its second start, before, then went on to good to soft ground, ran poorly, went to Chester, won well, back onto good to soft ground at Chester in a pretty decent race, truth be told. Went off favourite as that. And everything went a little bit wrong for it, including it throwing the jockey beforehand. So that run, really, you could put a line through it. That's supported by the fact it was then gelded. Came back in April on quick ground at Pontefract. They tried to lead, was taken on for the lead, ended up finishing 4th. Going off favourite then back at Chester, and that day, again, a relatively hot contest, but it had a very good draw and it didn't fire. So on good to soft ground, they then ran it on heavy at Haydock and it ran woeful before improving on good to firm back at Chester. So again, it seems to be a horse that has potential but is regularly not delivering. So I mean, it expressed a bit of confusion why he was favourite, but it's been relatively heavily backed. Capity Con's a horse that most of you will remember. Robert Winston rode it to beat Born to Finish about 18 months ago. We were both carrying the same weight. Capity Con got a better run than Born to Finish. Born to Finish finished very, very quickly and was only beaten half a length at Chelmsford on a track that doesn't favour horses coming from behind. Capity Con hasn't really done an awful lot since then, whereas, you know, Born to Finish has kind of dipped up and then back down. But what Capity Con has done is won 2 or 3 races at Wolverhampton. Likes the course, likes the distance. Stable's in relatively quiet form now after a good period. But Capity Con has to be one that we'd have a look at. Drawn right on the outside. But again, there's been a bit of money for that one. Kamikaze Lord, John Butler, first run for him. A little bit of money for it. That could mean anything, could mean nothing. But it's a horse bred for the all-weather and back on some of its form at the back end of last year. Again, that's a horse that would have a bit of a squeak. You know, it was very, very short price when it won for Jeremy Nasira. 2 to 7 on and only just got up and won on the line. Not really convinced why it would be any better, but it's the same connections. They've just moved stable. They moved from Jeremy Nasira to John Butler. They deemed that the horse was worth hanging on to and not worth sending to sales. So maybe there is more to be eked out from that horse. Had a little bit of a break. Mendoza won last time out, 33 to 1. I don't think there's much in that form. I really don't. So that isn't a horse that I would be overly concerned about. But as I always say, I'm not a tipster or even an expert. I'm just a guy who watches a lot of racing and through the nature of what I do has to look at form a lot. So I'll give you an opinion. Busby at the top end of the handicap, time for last, won well last time out. Didn't run well at all, but good win at Kempton, then underperformed at Chelmsford. A lot of horses don't like Chelmsford, but that horse had won at Chelmsford before. So again, one of these yards where when the horses are in form, they tend to run blinders, otherwise they don't. And very, very difficult to predict. You're then down in the realm of Zappa Cass, which has been tipped by the Racing Post. Arguably ran a very good race last time out. And has won at Wolverhampton before. There's nothing that would really make you massively worried about that. Steel River has been in very good form. Outside a lot, 20 to 1. I mean, that shows a lot, you know, for a horse that's won 3 of its last 6 to be sitting at that sort of price. The trainer is in tremendous form, Michael Harrington. Doesn't have a lot of horses, but he's doing very, very well with them. Steel River, I think, is massively overpriced at 20 to 1. But again, more as an each way thing rather than a winner. Born to Finish, 12 to 1, 16 to 1 in some places. Course and distance winner. Very, very good jockey on board today. I'm surprised the price is as big, but if you look back at his last 2 runs, there are going to be questions asked. If you look at this from somebody who if you look at this as somebody who knows nothing about the recent history of the horse, there will be questions asked as it's moved from Jamie Osborne to a new yard. The Windsor run was we were more than happy with, but it wasn't massively eye-catching. Goodwood was poor, Brighton wasn't great. So you can understand why the price is being pushed big. You know, that's got to be in our advantage for those of you who like a bet. Do I think he'll win today? When we entered the horse in this race, it was because we were trying to pick a race that we felt he would win. Yeah, there's always the risk of the 3-year-olds, but one thing that I would absolutely say is that Born to Finish is capable of winning a race on the all-weather of a rating of 82, 83, 84, possibly 85. For the only 3-year-old that has shown a level of form that indicates he could win off that kind of mark is the James Tate horse with caution. That horse is running off one less. We're only giving that horse, we're receiving £1. We're giving that horse £1 today. I'll put your teeth back in. We are giving with caution £1 today, and Kieran Fallon's taking 5 off. That gives that horse, we're having to, in effect, concede £6 to that horse when we should be receiving 5. So strictly on the weights, and I know 3-year-olds at this time of year, older horses, understand that, but in effect, we're having to concede £11 to that horse. That could be a big ask. But Born to Finish has ran well at the course more than once. We know he's in very, very good form. Ed has got this niggling little doubt at the back of his mind that horses are better on the second run after a wind up, the same as what Neil had before DTN ran his first run after the wind up. DTN ran a blinder at first run back after the wind up. Ran the best, on official figures, he ran the best race of his career on the flat. Born to Finish, first race after a wind up when he was with Jeremy, he won. Second race, he won. I'm not necessarily buying into this that horses are better on the second run after a wind up. I think that there is a trait that some of the trainers, when they have these horses wind ups, they give the horses the wind ups in the middle of a break. And therefore, there is a big gap between the pre-wind up run and the post-wind up run. Born to Finish hasn't had that. He was fit. Although he didn't run great at Goodwood or Brighton, he was fit. He was very fit. Ed's kept him ticking over. He missed very, very little work with this wind up. He's now been back in training, and as I say, he was ready to run a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. If there'd been the right opportunity, we may well have done that. There is no reason to think that he is going to improve for the run today. He may pause his go through with his run, but I don't believe so. As a company, as a group of owners, crowd racing needs a good run. You know, I'm not going to deny that. And you know, we needed a good run before we're Born to Finish, and he has stepped up and delivered. You know, this horse is absolutely means everything to me and everything to crowd racing. We were a long time waiting for a winner. Born to Finish was the first winner and the second winner, and he kept winning, and now he's won 7 in total. And he has twice in the past delivered wins when we've been in the middle of a run where, you know, you might be looking around thinking, we just need something decent. The plan is to go to Hamilton Friday night as well. The ground is currently perfect there. There was some rain forecast Saturday, Sunday and today. None of it's arrived as yet. I'm only about, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes away from Hamilton or so. So it's Scotland does tend to have lots of little microclimates in the different parts of the country, but Hamilton will be very similar to here. It's dry today, although there is a bit of cloud kicking about. Forecast is dry Tuesday, Wednesday, so we'll see how we go. But first things first, Wolverhampton tonight. If anybody's got any questions, give me a shout. Horse is fit, the horse is well. There are very, very few excuses. Draw's decent. Yeah, Wild Edric may go from stall 1 and be difficult to peg back. Wild Edric may go from stall 1 and get pegged back by Wild Caution. If we finish third to the first 2 in the betting, the Dascombe horse and the Tate horse, I would think that's a good run, considering the conditions and the weight advantages. However, I'm hoping Born to Finish can deliver tonight. Fingers crossed, and good luck, everybody. Bye.